G'day all and welcome back to Freo Faithful. Yesterday, the second day of the national draft, finished up and we have ended up adding on 2 players to our playing list through the draft. We had 1 first round selection and 1 selection in the second round, I believe it was. It may have been the third round, but on the second day, on the first day in the first round, we signed up Essendon NGA product from the Calder Cannons and Pascoe Vale. Adam Sweid. Essendon chose not to match the bid. He's a bit of a hybrid. He's a smaller midfielder that can also drift forward, and he's a natural in front of goal from what I've seen. Now, Adam Sweid is one of the names in that sort of late first round bracket we were linked to going into the draft, and he's one of those names I was actually familiar with. So when we got him, I knew we got a good one. And I think he's one of those guys that's sort of going to push for selection going into 2026. And from what I've heard, Fremantle actually ranked him fairly high, or a fair bit higher than what we got him at, which was pick 25, the last pick of the first round. So a few Essendon fans weren't overly happy with them not matching that academy bid, which is probably a good sign. That being said, Essendon had a really, really good haul, getting the Jacob Farrows and the Dyson Sharps. So yeah, Essendon had a really good draft, but you can't have everything, I guess, and we ended up taking Adam Sweid off them. He's also the first ever Muslim player for Fremantle, which I think is a really big step. I think culturally we have a fair few records. I think we've got the record for most Indigenous players in a single team in an AFL game. So it's good to have a Muslim player on the list for the first time in our history. And I've watched his interviews, and my God, is he likable. He comes across as such a good fella. And just overall, he's a really good profile of starting at AFL level in the forward line, but being able to pinch it in the midfield. And that obviously won't come straight away, because we've just had the Rising Star winner this year in Murphy Reid sort of do that, and he didn't pinch it in the midfield at all. I reckon he attended 1 CBA all year. So, if that. So, I expect when he comes into the team, if he comes into the team in 2026, it'll be in the forward line. And I'd say he comes into the team at some point next year, because it's very rare that we draft someone in the first round and don't play him at least a couple games. So he's not a high first round pick, obviously, but he's someone we'll certainly put time into. And as I mentioned, we rated him far higher than what we got him at. So yeah, overall, really, really happy with the addition of Adam Sweid. From what I've seen, he's a natural in front of goal. Like, he's a genuine forward, and he played a lot of midfield in his junior days, but a 182 centimetre midfielder probably isn't, or full-time on baller, probably isn't going to cut it at AFL level. I think he's 182. He might even be shorter. He's 175. A 175, don't know where I got 182 from. A 175 centimetre midfielder at full-time on baller AFL level just simply isn't going to cut it. So yeah, he'll spend a lot of time forward, and hopefully he's so good forward we don't have to put him in the midfield, but he very well may end up becoming a midfielder, because that's sort of what we drafted him as. But what I've seen from Suede is that he is really speedy, and he's obviously not going to play midfield straight away, but sometimes when you look at a midfield mix that we've got on the ground, and it's like Brayshaw, Sarong and Johnson, and it's a bit one-paced, and then you inject a Shea Bolton into there, and it gives us a bit of speed, and you inject a Nathan O'Driscoll early in the year, and it gives us a bit of speed. And in bygone years, Sam Switkowski did that for us. So I'm not saying Adam Sweid's going to play midfield or any midfield time for us really in 2026 if he gets a game. But down the line, he's super speedy, and he will give us that sort of dynamic. And also from what I've seen from him, he's a really hard worker. Some of his pressure acts, some of his tackling in the front half, it's a really good sign. Just a super hard worker, looks super fit. So with an AFL preseason, I really do think he'll push for selection in 2026. And that's also what David Walls said. He actually expects Suede to push for selection. And he's not the only man David Walls is saying that Adam Sweid is not the only man that should push for selection in 2026. He is also expecting Tobyn Murray to push for selection. Now, this pick had a little bit of a narrative about it, more so just in my head. I was a bit in the air on who we'd go with here. So pick 39 we had at the time, and I fully expected that we'd put a bid on Tyler Williams, the West Coast Next Generation Academy small forward, and that's exactly what we did. So we put the bid on him. West Coast matched it, which they couldn't do for Charlie Banfield or Cody Curtin, which they couldn't do for Charlie Banfield because they didn't have the capital. Banfield obviously ended up going to St Kilda. I was watching the True Footy live stream, and Jesse wasn't overly happy with that. Overall, they had a good first round. Like Dersma, Duff Tytler, Lindsay. I rate Duff Tytler and Lindsay in particular really highly. So, you can't be too disheartened with that first round if you're a West Coast fan. But it's not a West Coast channel, so we'll swiftly move back onto Tobyn Murray. I was a bit all over the shop. I don't really know where we were going to go with this pick. And I thought going into the draft, we were going to try and get one of Swadling or Fred Rodriguez. And Swadling went off the board at pick 37. Collingwood took him. So I just sort of thought, I reckon Fred might be coming here. I just think with what stage Erasmus and Johnson are at in their development, we sort of just want the next crop of midfielders coming through, or a midfielder coming through at Peel, and sort of battling for a game here and there. And I thought Fred might be that, or Swadling, one of those two. But we didn't go there. We went with Tobyn Murray, who, as soon as he came on the board, I had no idea who he was. Fox Footy didn't know who he was. The AFL website didn't know who he was, because there wasn't even a photo of him. But he was from the Geelong Cats VFL team. He is 20 years old. He's played VFL senior footy all year. He kicked 5 goals in the game, which apparently really put him on the radar. And as I mentioned, I was watching the True Footy stream, and this is literally the only insight I've gotten about Tobyn Murray as a player. And it was from Dylan Alexander. So shout out to him. But what he said is that Freo have sort of drafted him as a genuine AFL ready option. And David Wall sort of echoed that in his post-draft presser. He sort of expects both of these national draft guys to push for selection in 2026, and he's almost a bit of a Will Brodie replacement. He can play through the midfield, but he can play in the forward half. He's the one that's 180 centimeters, and he's super quick, or not super quick, but he's quick. He's agile. He's got a good work rate about him, and he can play that midfield role, but he can also play that high half forward role. And if he does play either of those roles, he's going to hit the scoreboard no matter what. So I actually think Tobyn Murray nearly is more likely to get a game than Adam Sweid in 2026. Adam Sweid has a much higher ceiling. But just based off the fact that Murray's played senior VFL footy all year and played it really well in a good Geelong VFL team, I just think he's a good shot. We went this route a few seasons ago in the mid-season draft. We went with Ethan Stanley, who was playing VFL senior footy with Box Hill, and he ended up getting a couple games for us, and he didn't light the world on fire. He played 2 games and got delisted, but we have gone this route before. Thinking back, I think Sam Switkowski came from Box Hill. I feel like Luke Ryan played senior VFL. So we've had success with this route in the past. And Tobyn Murray is a fair bit younger than when we got the, even Lockie Schultz, I think maybe, than when we got the Schultzes, the Switkowskis, the Ryans. So yeah, hopefully, he is a valuable addition to the team, Tobyn Murray. And overall, I'm pretty happy with this draft. We were only expected to take 2 picks in this draft. To be honest, neither of these picks I was really expecting. I had Adam Sweid on my radar, but I thought Essendon would probably match the bid, so I'm quite surprised about it. But yeah, we were only expected to take the 2 picks, the one in the first round and the one after that. We ended up passing for the rest of the draft, and that left people confused. Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves, Ollie Greaves, Fred Rodriguez, all haven't been picked in the national draft, which is just crazy. But on the day you're watching this, the rookie draft is on. So I obviously don't know who we get in the rookie draft. And when this video comes out, the rookie draft won't have happened yet. But what I've sort of gotten from David Walls and what he said is that we will add Toby, Whan, and Ryda Luke as Category B rookies to our list. Not through the rookie draft, just as Cat B rookies. Just sort of automatically. Now, really happy about this. Ryda Luke, I can't say I know a whole lot about. Like, I've watched a bit of South Freo Colts footy this year, so I've seen him play. I've seen him play for WA, but he's definitely more of a project. Like, he's very raw, but his talent is undeniable. Like, he scored 8 goals from 8 disposals in a Colts game this year for South Freo. So he has got a lot of talent. He's a medium forward, sort of in that Sam Sturt mold. I saw him compared to a Mitch Georgiades, but he's a fair bit smaller than Mitch Georgiades. As I mentioned, raw. He needs to put on a bit of size to be anywhere near him. He won't be anywhere near a game in 2026. Like, you've already got a Charlie Nichols ahead of him in the pecking order. And as I mentioned, you've got Sam Sturt to come back in to battle with Giamis for that third tall forward spot. So, he won't get anywhere near a game, but it's certainly a project. He's played a lot of South Colts footy for South Freo, and hopefully a very good Colts team, mind you. And hopefully he does some good things in purple in the future. Now, Whan is the one we have to talk about. He lit up for WA in the under-18 championships. He wasn't necessarily like MVP or Australian, all that, but he was very noticeable when he was out in the park. I remember that first WA games at the champs. I think it was against Vic Country. I could be wrong, but I remember really noticing Jacob Farrer because Jacob Farrer was on like no draft boards before this game, and all of a sudden there's just this left footer bursting off halfback, just doing everything. And it was pretty evident he was going to be something special. And come to the end of the year, he's a top 10 pick and he's at Essendon. So, I noticed Jacob Farrer, but Whan was another guy I noticed. And it's just, he's got weird Errol Goulden-like tendencies. He looks like Errol Goulden. If he becomes Errol Goulden, I would be really happy. I don't think that's a silly thing to say. I don't think he will become Errol Goulden, but he's got those tendencies. But the sky's the limit for this lad. He looks really, really good. He looks really silky. And I think a real positive is that Freo have done some pretty high-octane pre-seasons under Justin Longmuir, and particularly this year, we ended up probably being the fittest team in the AFL. We just ran teams to the ground, and that led to so many of our comeback wins. He did a senior pre-season with South Freo in 2025. He may have in 2024, I'm unsure. But he did a senior pre-season with South Freo this year, which I think is going to go a really long way. Like, a senior waffle pre-season a year in advance from playing AFL, I think prepares you really, really well. Now, will he push for selection in 2026? Probably a 40% chance. Like, he is a chance to play. Like, I doubt he'll play. But a bit of luck and a bit of good waffle form can go a long way. Like, he's never played waffle league footy, so that already is going to be an adjustment, playing for Peel at league level week in, week out. But as I mentioned, a bit of good luck, a few injuries, and you never know. He's definitely less raw than Luke. He's more made for AFL if he really needs to play in 2026. So, yeah, really excited about Whan. And he's also the first Fremantle player who follows Freo Faithful. So, as a Freo Faithful Instagram follower, he's our man. We're going to be backing Whan right in till his first game. It's great to have Toby and Ryda on board. And also the rookie draft. We've got one selection in the rookie draft. So I've already mentioned Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves. He was ranked for a lot of the year as a top 5, top 10 pick. It got to the draft and he was a certain first round pick. He has not been taken in the national draft. Now, I wouldn't be jumping at Hibbins-Hargreaves here. His talent is undeniable. He's had a few injuries this year, which I'm not too concerned about. That just happens. It's unlucky. I just think there is something hidden that the AFL clubs have gone, in the draft interview, they've just gone, nah, we can't have this bloke at the club. Now, that is pure speculation, but why has this bloke, who's been so highly touted, has such a high ceiling, not gone in the national draft? It makes no sense to me. So maybe we take a punt at him in the rookie draft, but I would be surprised. You've got Ollie Greaves, who to be honest, I'm not really that arsed. Like, he's a midfielder, so maybe we get him as that midfielder coming under, but I'd much rather Fred, to be honest. I think, Fred's the local lad. He's played for South Freo. He's a Freo fan growing up. Some of the criticisms I've seen of him is that he's a bit one-paced and a bit slow, which I can see, but I just think his leadership abilities are undeniable on the field. You can see he's admired by his teammates. And I don't know if anyone else sees this, but I just see Fife in him. And he's much bigger than what Fife was when he got drafted. But just the way he moves and the way he uses the ball. Like, Fife wasn't necessarily the most pristine ball user, but he just got it forward and he got it into the right positions. And he could burst through packs. And that's what I see with Fred, and just the way he moves. He can use both feet really, really well. I don't think every AFL footballer has to be super quick either. I just think he's a big body that will only grow with time. And I think I think he'd be an absolute steal, to be honest. I think he's a 150 AFL gamer. I also played junior footy with him, so maybe there's a bit of bias there. But I'd really love to see him at Freo. He's probably been the bloke I've sort of tracked the most in this draft year. And I'd love to see him in purple. And for him to not be drafted would be incredible. So, hopefully we see him in purple. Fred's one of those guys. Another guy that's been linked to us is Blake Oudshoorn-Bennier. Please let me know in the comments if I've mispronounced that or if you even know who that is. But Blake Oudshoorn-Bennier, which is an absolute mouthful. We'll just call him Bob because they're the initials. That is the easiest nickname of all time. But he was the SANFL under-18 best and fairest last year. He was really good for South Australia at the national champs. He's a midfielder from North Adelaide. I've also got some family connections to North Adelaide, so it'd be good to see a North Adelaide lad get in purple. But yeah, I mean, we've been linked to him, so keep your eye on him, I guess, but I don't really have much to say about him. I don't know much about him. So, yeah, Blake Oudshoorn-Bennier is one to look at. Fred Rodriguez is obviously one to look at. And then you've got Leon Kickett from Swan Districts, who's a small forward. He's obviously the nephew, I believe the nephew of Dale Kickett. So maybe there's something there. I've seen a lot of people have been really, really keen on Leon Kickett. From what I've seen, he looks like a really exciting small forward. When we did the WA draft preview with Chris from WA Footy Prospects, he really liked him. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Another WA lad is Hudson Walker from Subiaco. He kicked that goal after the siren last kick of the game for WA against Vic Country to win that first champs game of the year. I haven't seen a whole lot of him, but he does look good, Hudson Walker. So he's another one that we very well could be looking at. So there's a few names with our one rookie draft spot that we'll get, but we will use that one rookie draft pick to bring someone into the club, as well as bringing in Toby, Whan and Ryda Luke as Cat B rookies, and adding on to that Adam Sweid and Tobyn Murray from the national draft. And then we've got one more bit of news. Mason Cox is going to be a Docker, born in the USA, born to run. Name any Bruce Springsteen song you want because it'll relate to Mason Cox. He's coming out to the Wild Wild West. The Texans coming out to the Wild West. Now, he's the only American to ever play AFL, and he's certainly the only American to ever play for Fremantle, if he does play for Fremantle. He will be on the Fremantle list. David Wall's confirmed that. He'll sign as an SSP with Fremantle on Monday when the SSP's open. He knows where he sits. He knows he's not the first choice ruck. He's going to apply his craft appeal, and he will play in 2026, whether you like it or not. I mentioned this on a podcast about 3 months ago that I think we're going to get Mason Cox, and here we are. I remember I was discussing it with Drews on the podcast, and he wasn't a massive fan of it. But we need someone as an experienced backup ruck with Liam Reedy going, and I think Mason Cox is that guy. Like, Todd Goldstein's just retired. We could have maybe tried to get him, but he had 1 year left at most, probably 0 years left. Mason Cox, 2-year deal, rookie contract, 35, our oldest player now, whatever. Like, he can play a bit of forward, he can play a bit of ruck. He's certainly more comfortable in the forward line than Liam Reedy was, so I guess that's probably an upgrade on Liam Reedy. Whether you like it or not, he will play a role for us. He will end up playing games because there's no chance Sean Darcy plays every game, and we will persist with that 2 ruck thing. So it's going to be interesting, but I do think the Mason Cox serves a purpose, and he'll be in purple come Monday. So there you go. That's 3, 4. There's going to be 6 new Dockers all in all from Wednesday to Monday. We've got Adam Sweid, Tobyn Murray, Toby, Whan, Ryda Luke, whoever we get in the rookie draft, and Mason Cox. So there you go. It'll be great to have the American at the club. It'll be great to have all these lads at the club. I'm really excited about this offseason. We've also added Judd McVie as a 7th Docker, and we may add someone in the SSP period come January. So like we did with Dudley, we added him February this year. So you never know. But all in all, like compared to last offseason, it's a bit quieter. But I think we're building really nicely our list in the background, and I think we're just filling needs. I think a few of these lads will get a game next year, and I'm really excited for where the list is heading. The list is basically just developing through natural progression now, so I guess that's just all you can ask for. Thank you all for watching. Up the Dockers. That is a sort of recap on where our list is at post the national draft, pre-rookie draft, and ahead of signing Mason Cox on Monday. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify, leave a like on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Cheers.